What if I told you that two of humanity's greatest philosophies, one born in ancient Greece, the other in ancient India, were both trying to solve the exact same internal problem, that Stoicism and Buddhism, though separated by thousands of miles and completely different cultures, arrived at almost the same answer for how to deal with human suffering, and that you don't have to pick one or the other. You can actually combine them. We live in a world obsessed with more success, more pleasure, more certainty. But the Stoics and the Buddhists both warned that chasing those things blindly creates the very pain we're trying to avoid. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The Buddha called it dukkha, the suffering that comes from craving and attachment. Two traditions, one insight. Our suffering begins in the mind, not in the world. When I first started meditating, I felt like I was cheating on philosophy. I had been reading Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, all these Stoic texts about reason, clarity, discipline. Then I sat down to meditate one day, and something strange happened. The voice in my head got quieter, but not because I was fighting it. I was just watching it, and it reminded me of something Epictetus said. We are disturbed not by things, but by the view we take of them. That's mindfulness. The Stoics didn't call it that, but they were doing the same thing. Let's start with the core problem both philosophies want to solve: suffering. The Buddha begins with the first noble truth. Life involves suffering, pain, loss, sickness, aging. But the second truth says the cause is attachment. Attachment to pleasure, to outcomes, to ego. Seneca says it differently. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We're wasting time chasing things we don't control. We crave more than we need. We fear losing what we already have, and so we suffer. And here's where both paths connect beautifully. Neither Buddhism nor Stoicism is about removing all emotion or becoming cold. That's a modern misunderstanding. They're about becoming free from unnecessary suffering created by uncontrolled desire and distorted thought. The Buddha taught compassion and awareness. The Stoics taught virtue and presence. Both are paths to inner freedom. One of the most powerful metaphors I ever heard came during a Buddhist retreat. The teacher said, "You're sitting by a river. Thoughts are the water. Don't jump in and try to control the current. Just sit on the bank and watch the river flow." Then I remembered Marcus Aurelius writing something eerily similar in Meditations. Observe how everything flows, and how the great river of time carries all things away. It felt like two ancient voices saying the same thing through different languages. Now think about detachment. Most people hear that word and picture indifference or not caring. But in Buddhism, detachment means recognizing that everything is temporary, so we stop clinging. In Stoicism, the same idea is called amor fati, love your fate. Accept what happens without resistance. Seneca even practiced a form of voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, eating simple food, just to train himself not to be controlled by craving. Not because he hated comfort, he wanted to enjoy it without being owned by it. So what can we actually do? Here are 3 practical steps that combine both worlds. First, daily mindfulness. Whether it's formal meditation or just stopping 3 times a day to observe your breath for a minute. This teaches you to notice thoughts before you react. It's the Buddhist foundation, but it's also pure Stoicism, separating stimulus from response. Second, negative visualization. The Stoics practiced imagining loss, not to depress themselves, but to appreciate the present. The Buddhists call this the contemplation of impermanence. Think of someone you love deeply, and remember, they are not permanent. That thought isn't meant to be dark. It makes your time with them more vivid, more precious. Third, align with values, not moods. Both traditions say, don't make decisions based on how you feel in the moment. Act according to your principles. In Buddhism, that's right intention and right action. In Stoicism, that's virtue. Feelings come and go. Values guide you forward. Let me share a real story that brings this together. A friend of mine lost his job unexpectedly. He spiraled for a few days. Panic, shame, anger. Then he remembered something from a meditation class. Focus on what's happening right now, not the story you're telling. He sat down, noticed his breath, wrote down his thoughts. One sentence kept repeating, "I've lost all stability." But was that true? He still had friends, a home, opportunities. Then he read a quote from Seneca. "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." He realized he had been acting like the world owed him certainty. That insight didn't magically fix everything, but it calmed him. He updated his resume, started applying. A month later, he landed a job that actually fit him better. When he told me the story, he said, "What saved me wasn't motivation. It was just learning to stop believing every fearful thought." The central message weaving through everything in this video is simple. Freedom is not found in controlling the world. It's found in understanding your mind. Buddhism and Stoicism are two lenses pointing at the same truth. You can't avoid pain, but you can transform how you experience it. You can live with compassion without attachment, with discipline without brutality, with clarity without judgment. And the beauty is, you don't have to shave your head or become a monk or wear a toga. You can be in traffic, at work, in your room at 3 a.m. and still practice this. Watch your thoughts like clouds. Let go of the need for everything to go your way. Act on what you can control, accept what you can't. That combination, Eastern stillness and Western rationality, is a kind of inner armor, not to hide behind, but to move freely through the chaos. You don't have to choose between being spiritual or being logical. You can meditate in the morning and journal like Marcus Aurelius at night. You can breathe with awareness and then go handle your problems with calm rationality. This isn't about becoming emotionless or detached from life. It's about developing a kind of inner spaciousness where your peace doesn't depend on perfect outcomes. And maybe that's the most useful takeaway. Peace doesn't come from fixing everything outside. It comes from seeing clearly inside. Both traditions ultimately point toward the same practice. Observe your mind, question your desires, act with intention, and let go of what you can't control. The world will continue to change. You will gain and lose. You will feel joy and pain. That's reality. What Eastern wisdom and Western logic both teach is this: if you stop clinging, stop resisting, and meet life with steady awareness and virtue, suffering loses its grip. You don't need a new life. You need a new relationship with the life you already have. That's the Buddhist-Stoic connection, and it's available to you right now.